Our speaker today is Joy Talley, one of, if not the, most popular and well-known psychics in Virginia Beach. You don't have to hang around the metaphysical community to be aware of that. If you go to any gathering or group or party anywhere, if you mention Joy Talley's name, somebody will say, "Oh yeah, Joy Talley, I went to her several years ago regarding this or that." I think we're both originally from Canada, is that right? So that's why we're both a little strange. I think it's something in the water. And you don't have to, maybe I shouldn't give this away, you don't always have to go to see Joy Talley professionally to get a reading. If you encounter her on the street, in the hospital, in the grocery store, you might get a reading. And I assure you it will be what you need to know. It may or may not be what you want to know. So, please welcome the Joy Talley.
Thank you. Jill said a lot today about what I was going to talk about, but I'll put it in my words. But anyway, it's on forgiveness. And one of the reasons I chose forgiveness I'm the only one left in my extended family, but in the last 2 or 3 months, in a dream state, I have been seeing each one of my relatives that have passed over. And my conversation with them in the dream state changed my perception of the relationship I had with them. And I was reviewing some of my readings, and I see that what I criticize in others, I need to write it down and see what it is in me that sees those things in other people. My dad, I had a lot of issues with my dad. And he told me in this dream, it was not, when I saw him, it was not easy for him to be the 12th baby born in his family. And his father was a machinist, and he never went to school, as we know school. And he went into the machine shop, which was right next door to the house, and started learning the machinery. So he never learned good money facts or anything. And because now, of looking back, I tell people in my readings, young people that have, lots of people, you don't have to be young to have financial problems. But if you earn $100 a week and you spend $110, you get in quicksand. If you earn $100 a week, you live on 90 and invest 10%, that money collects interest, compound interest. And I don't know if that ever would have meant so much to me had I not had the relationship with my father. So now I thank my father. My grandmother, Grayson, she was my great-grandmother, was from Holland, and maybe it was from her relatives, but she could sit in a room and she just saw all of these spirits and would talk to the spirits. And you know, when you're raised in that environment, on my mother's side, that she was 10 girls and 2 boys. And, you know, in Canada, they had lots and lots of children. And I think, you know, because, well, I guess they only fished and done something else. And in the wintertime, they didn't fish. So the woman next door to us had 26 single births. She was having grandchildren as she was having children. But maybe you know this in Canada, that the government, I don't know if they still do, but they gave you a monthly allotment for each child. It wasn't a whole lot. But I've seen my mother. I had a good relationship with my mother, but she told me what a struggle it was for her because of my father's inability to, he earned money, but he wasn't good at handling it. And so it was one time they had taken all the furniture. They even took my mother's wedding ring one day because we lost everything. And, you know, I was critical or judgmental and about this. But what it did is it made me paranoid the other way, where I can't stand to owe money. So we learn from the people that cause us the most pain. They teach us the most lessons. And looking at the things we resent in other people. I have this woman, I've been reading her maybe 25 years, retired from the Air Force as a colonel, and has worked at 3 different hospitals. She now has a new job, 5 months. And she kept repeating the supervisor didn't like her, or her boss, not supervisor. She's a PhD. But the same resentments was reoccurring. And because I've been talking to all my dead relatives and been thinking about forgiveness and everything, I said to her Friday, have you asked yourself, why are you keep repeating this same pattern? What is it in you that you need to learn to be a happy camper? If you don't change yourself, you're going to keep attracting the people in you that causes you the most pain. And we don't learn from happy campers, we learn from painful ones. And so I feel there's no gain in life without pain. A man stood up with a candle and mentioned procrastination. And procrastination is the enemy of good luck. Good luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and bad luck is when an opportunity presents itself and you're not prepared. I'm looking, where is he? Oh, there you are, right there. Was it you that said? No. Oh, back. Oh, there. Right. Well, until you stop procrastinating, nothing's going to change. And I have a new acronym for the word fear, and it's fail early and rebound. Isn't that good? And my daughter, I was upset about something, and she said, if you rest, you're going to rust. So don't rest. And that's my kids for you. You learn a lot from your kids. Heidi gave me this picture. I don't know if you might not be able to see it, but we had a little session here, and there's an oar back here, and it's Paul Solomon. And she thought maybe I would get a message from him today, seeing as I've been talking about spirits. So do you mind if I close my eyes a minute? Oh, he's seeing 2013 with a real change of energy for the fellowship and a rise in consciousness. And evidently there's something going on working that's drawing younger, new blood, new energy, new enthusiasm. Oh. He shows a member of the congregation is going to pass over this year. But he doesn't say who. That's a good thing. We don't need to know that. But some of the things, have you noticed that we get resentful about somebody driving down the street or something, and it's telling us to learn patience or understanding. Is there somebody standing behind the door? I guess there is. Oh, whatever. Resentment is like taking poison while you're waiting for the other person to die. And this is really true. It diseases the person who has the resentment. And so only when you, because I know this with my relatives, and these last few months when I've been visiting with them, It has freed me of a lot of old issues and a lot of old ways of looking things. And I'm so grateful that I have the communication with my children that I do. And when they have a dream, they always call me up and ask, let's talk about the dream and what does it mean. And some of the things I felt about dreams, I don't know if this has anything to do with forgiveness, but if you have a dream and you're driving a car, it means you're in a situation you have control over. And where the car goes tells you what it's all about. But if somebody else is driving the car, it means you're in a situation you've lost control over. If you're in the back seat, you're really in trouble. And it can be airplanes, it can be boats, but they all represent the physical body. Have you ever thought that when we get sick, we should never ask, what is the matter with me, but who is the matter with me? And each part of our body tells us our psychological problems. And some older people, as they get older, they lose their hearing. And so often it's when you talk to them, you find out that they tune their spouse out. You know, sometimes you have chatty Kathy as one spouse and quiet Kevin in the other. And so the quiet one tunes chatty Kathy out. And if you tune out the hearing, then you lose the hearing. And if the stomach is nervous and tied up in knots, it's the God in us doing something we can't stomach. So I feel this all goes back to forgiveness. When we forgive others, then we have to forgive ourselves. I don't know if I've ever mentioned being here that your favorite nursery rhyme, fairy tale, is the script you've chosen for yourself. And once you understand what your script is, you predict the people that will come into your life. When you think about this, you realize that doctors attract patients, teachers attract pupils, policemen attract wrongdoers, buyers attract sellers, givers attract takers. So if you choose the role of a victim, you will constantly be victimized. If you choose the role of a martyr, you'll be crucified. If you choose to be Susie Sunshine, you're going to light up the world. But if you choose to be Bitter Betty or Raging Ruby, you're going to go through life with lots of conflicts. And only when you learn to forgive yourself, then you can let go of those scripts and live a happy, fulfilled life. 2013, while we're on our life, Taurus and Libra this is a year of changes for them. Come July of this year through December 31st of next year will be a year of changes for Capricorns. And when you have changes, depending on your ages, you know our life is always changing. And life without goals is like a ship without a captain. And if you have goals and you look at them, it's good to ask yourself, do I know where this goal is taking? And is it a desire or is it a goal? The difference between desires and goals are when you set a goal, you check your behavior to see if it matches your goal. A desire is a dream for something, but no plan on how to obtain it. And that's why a lot of people's goals don't work out. You know, some people have desires to win the lottery, and they said, can you give me the numbers for the lottery? And I said, if I knew them, I would get them myself. I mean, yeah, why not? But I think it's just a stroke of luck. But we do cause our pleasure or pain, happiness or unhappiness. I read this woman, and her grandson is in jail, and she's all upset and worried about how she is going to get the money to get a lawyer or whatever. And my feeling is that when people are always bailing out their children rather, they need to feel needed. And it makes them feel empowered or in control, charge. And the greatest gift we can give our children is to teach them to love to work and to be independent. When you think about dependency, it is slavery. And I've never known of any children that appreciate their parents always giving to them. They grow up, no sense of identity or self-worth, and they're generally angry or depressed, or they blame people, places, and things for whatever goes wrong in their life. The day we say, I'm fully responsible for my unhappiness, is the day we can say, I'm fully responsible for my happiness. So I guess the message I want to give to you today is, could you think about forgiveness? And when you think about somebody that has wronged you, what part did you have in that misunderstanding? It takes two people to have an argument. And two people, each one of us is entitled to our belief, which doesn't make it a fact. The other person is entitled to their belief, which doesn't make it a fact. Our beliefs can differ, but we can still love each other. And I feel it's, Jill talked about ego, and I feel it's our ego that causes our pain or pleasure. And my acronym for ego is easing God out. And we've got to keep God in our heart. I have a new saying too, by the way. A setback is a setup for a comeback. And when you do get and we all get setbacks. When I was having the dream with my deceased relatives, and especially Beverly, my youngest sister, she went blind when she was 28. She was a psychic, and she could sit in the back seat of a police car and direct them to where a dead body was, blind as a bat. And I never knew how she did that, but whatever, she did it. But she had a really bad temper. And she was a Libra, by the way. And Libras, as a rule, don't like fighting arguments or discord, but she never got the message. When she was 5 years old, we called her Hold That Tiger. And I guess she didn't like our family because she went around the neighborhood and told everybody she was adopted. But in all families you have different dynamics and different personalities. And my mother had 4 children in 5 years, and I was the third one. Why she was so happy wouldn't you think when you already have 2 little babies you wouldn't be so happy? But she called me Joy because she just felt joyful when I was born. And out of the 4 kids, I was the one that was closest to her. So on a psychic level, she must have felt some connection. My mother had 9 sisters. They all had the name Mary in their name, but it was like Daisy Mary, Lillian Mary, Mabel Mary, Queenie Mary, Queen Mary. Well, we called her Aunt Queenie, but her name was Queen. Canada, my oldest sister's name was Duchess Maxine. That's what they do in Canada, they call her. Did you know where you come from? Did they do that? No? Oh. Well, you didn't come from London, Ontario, then.
Toronto.
Pardon?
Toronto.
Oh, that's only 120 miles away. Yeah, well, every family's different. And what else did I want to say? I don't know. anybody been thinking about forgiveness? It sounds very easy. My husband went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and they have the 12 steps. It was he died on his 39th anniversary of being in AA. And I think it's the 4th step, I'm not quite sure. But you write down all your resentments and you talk to your sponsor. And he wrote down 27 pages of resentments he had towards me. And he discussed it. That's a lot of resentments. And these were, these big yellow pads, that they have. But I never asked him what the resentments was because I didn't want to get resentments. But anyway, he worked through it, and he was really a wonderful person. And after we had our 7th separation and we really accepted each other, loved each other, then we had a very good marriage. But can you imagine having for him to have gone through life with all of those resentments? It just would have eaten away at him like a poison. And it wouldn't have done us any good to talk about it. But the AA program is a program of forgiveness and making amends. And if anybody has anybody in their family with an issue, I would recommend that because it's a wonderful place to go. And but, I feel because, talking about forgiveness, because my husband went to AA and worked the steps and I learned it, I still read the Grapevine every month I get it. And it's enabled me to understand people with drug problems or alcohol problems and to understand if you're numb to pain and rejection, you're numb to love and happiness. If you're blocking out the negative, you're blocking out the positive. And I feel that AA teaches you, it's a spiritual program, not a religious program, but it teaches you to love yourself and be happy with yourself and to forgive yourself. And I guess we really have to forgive us before we can ever forgive anybody else. I have an office on Mediterranean Avenue, and next door was this man, Mr. Alderman, and he was there for 67 is when I moved into the office. And his mother had lived into the building I'm in, and when she died, the relatives, the heirs, wanted the money, and anyway, I bought it the day they put the sign up. And after I remodeled it, I said to him, I've fixed it all up, would you like to come and see it? And he said no, and walked away, and all those years, he never ever spoke to me. But that lot, that piece of property, it was overgrown, it was a mess. I hated it. Well, lo and behold, he died in August. And so my daughter bought the property and we cut the trees down. But for all those years, I resented him. I didn't cause him to die. That was God's work. He did that all by himself. But if I had anything to do with it, it would have been 47 years ago. But anyway, I just, for all those years, I don't know if you've ever been by Mediterranean and 21st Street. It was horrible, overgrown and everything. He never did anything to it. Well, inside of it, we got inside of it after she bought it, and it was stacked to the roof with stuff. It was, how you see those shows, Hoarders? Well, this was like that.